Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, I understand we had a little bit of a technical difficulty here. Not on our end, for the record. just let that be stated right there. We've had glitches for the last couple of nights, evidently. But as I was saying, so the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Boston Celtics have just come to an end. And the game actually was sailing over the number. It looked like it was going to go under the number. It's just completely hit a wall thanks to the Boston Celtics, but it actually goes over by a single point. And we have to thank the Boston Celtics because they didn't really have to foul late in the game. I'll give credit to them. They kept on fouling late, even though they weren't going to win the basketball game, and the game goes over by a single point. What's crazy is the total was 229. They were at 228, and SGA's prop was 32.5 tonight. That's what it's gotten to for SGA. I've got SGA over 32.5 like all the other public marks, and I had the over 229 like all the other public marks in this game. It's at 228 with 6 seconds left, and they fouled SGA. So then it was like, all right, bro, if you hit both free throws, the total goes over, and if you hit one of them, your prop goes over the number. He hit them both. Unlike Michael Jordan. I'll never forget once. It was a Christmas day many years ago. And Michael Jordan and the Bulls were playing against Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway and the Orlando Magic. Remember, the Magic were good. It was a big-time game. It was all hyped up, Christmas Day. And I loaded up on the Bulls. And I think the Bulls, like off the top of my head, I think they were 6.5. I think they were 5.5-point favorites. I'm pretty close. Like, I have a pretty good memory for this stuff. I think they were like 5.5-point favorites. And Michael Jordan went to the line with 0.9 seconds left type of deal. And I never forget thinking, I was like, man, Well, who better to have on the free throw? Like, I was like, man, we got the greatest player ever here. Can he hit the shots? And he bricked them. He freaking bricked them both. And he was asked, it popped up after, and he told people you shouldn't be betting on games. It's like pretty ironic coming from him. So, unlike Jordan, SGA was able to come through with the free throws. This guy really is a scoring machine, man. Like, it really is unbelievable, SGA. Like it's one of those deals where he's like a football, he's like a running back, right? Like, or like a home run hitter, where whatever you throw him, he's going to hit a home run, right? Like Vlad Guerrero, not junior, but senior, used to be like that. Like, dude, I saw him, like, dude, he used to swing it, like they would try to intentionally walk him. He would literally, like, jump out and, like, swing one-handed at the ball, right? He was like, no, you're not going to stop me, right? You can try, you can do this, you can do that, but I'm gonna do my thing. And with SGA, like, it's coming, right? Like, he's getting the ball, and lo and behold, he still scores, right? Now, listen, I don't care. It's the modern NBA and stuff, and you can say, well, it's easier to score now. But whatever, when you're dropping 30-plus a night like this dude is, super impressive. Although tonight's game was kind of symbolic of the modern NBA. And people can argue, or you can say, oh, it was a great game. Was it a great game? I watched this game tonight. I've been watching a lot of sports lately. I've been watching everything. And Oklahoma City and Boston tonight, it wasn't a great game. You have two elite teams playing against each other, and it was a close game. You figure, well, it must have been a really good game. Not really. It was pretty boring, actually, to be honest with you. And you know why it was boring? They combined to take literally 100 three-point shots. Exactly 100 three-point shots. The Boston Celtics took 36 three-point shots in the first half. They combined for 56, right? Three-pointers. Oh, was it 54? My bad, 54. 54 three-point shots, and then they dialed it up a notch, actually, in the second. The Boston Celtics ended up breaking their own record. Their record was taking 61 three-point shots in a game. They took 63 three-point shots tonight. They hit 20 of them. Oklahoma City only took 37 shots from beyond the arc. That's where we're at right now with the NBA. Like, it's not entertaining. It's like, I don't know, like maybe it's like to others, I can't judge. Like some people were online saying, oh, this game's great. But to me, it's not, you know what it reminds me of when I posted this, I tweeted this out. I said it's sort of like, those, when the Red Sox and the Yankees play all the time on Fox on the game of the week on Saturday. And it's always like a 6-hour game and it's like 14-12. Like it starts at 1 o'clock and it's like 5:30 and, Joe Buck is like dying at the end of it. He just wants it to be over. And it's like, oh, there's another home run. It's 14-11 now. And it's like, dude, like really, this isn't, like a good game's like 5-4, right? I know that people like always think, oh, offense is more and is better and stuff. It's not, right? Like tonight was a classic example. You have two elite teams. You played a close game and the game was boring. Right? It was just, like I said, you took 100 three-point shots. It's lazy basketball. That's what it is. It's just lazy. Right? Anybody that knows, like, basketball at all, like, nope, they don't want to put the work in the paint. They don't want to get hit. They don't want to get touched. And then you get the analytics part of it. Right? It's not really the players' fault. If the players were coached to play a different way, they could. Right? That's one thing I'd say. Like, people know the modern NBA is soft and stuff. It's because they've been coached soft. Right? You know what I mean? Like if you redid the rules and everything, trust me, these dudes would start killing each other too, like they did in the old days, right? But they just grown up that way. I remember I played street ball, and there was this dude. We were playing against this dude, and he was like, he was going to like NCAA. It was like a wide receiver, and he was really, really good. Like he was the best guy. Like we were all a bunch of street scrubs, and this guy was like the best athlete by far on the court with us. And we all caught on after like 5 minutes that he's a big wuss bag. Right? Oh, man, like everything was like a big deal to him when you got in his face and stuff. And I thought, man, this guy's going to play like D1 college football and he's crying because I'm playing too hard of D against him in a street pickup game. Like, really? But that, that's sort of the modern kid. They've been softened. They've been softened. Like if they got toughened up, they'd be crazy again too, right? So it's not like it's their fault. It's just sort of like the culture. Sort of like pitchers in baseball, right? Why do pitchers get hurt all the time now? Pitchers used to throw, like, you know what I mean? Pitchers used to go complete games. Pitchers used to throw 150, 160, 200 pitches, whatever. Roger Clemens, one of the greatest ever. Yeah, oh, they throw hard now. Yeah, because Clemens didn't throw hard, right? So Roger Clemens threw as hard as anybody. You know, all these other pitchers now, you throw and you got your arm in ice in your hyperbolic chambers for 3 days, and don't talk to me, don't touch me, my arm is resting, right? Doc Holliday, Roger Clemens, they used to throw. Nolan Ryan, the morning after they pitched the game, they'd go throw some more, right? They, this battle test, get that arm tested up. It's a new era right now. It is what it is, but whatever. The game went over by a single point, so we'll take it. We got another NBA game coming up right now. I don't really understand the number of this game. I've been focused in college a lot, but why are the Denver Nuggets only minus 1.5 point favorites against the visiting T-Wolves here? For what I'm seeing, the Nuggets are raising it up a notch right now. Let's roll. This is SportsRage.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. All right, so lot of stuff going on here. Lot of stuff going on. This is pretty wild. The Vancouver Whitecaps have just taken a 2-1 lead on Monterey, and this is like freaking wild right now. Like, they've just scored. They were down, and the thing is, the Whitecaps have a bunch of backups. I had a weird feeling. I was like, man, they're going to show up tonight, even though it seems like Monterey is the play. But the Whitecaps are up 2-1 late right now and on the verge of potentially advancing. in this CONCACAF Champions League. They have no Brian White. They have no Ryan Gold. They have no Jordan Nelson. Dude, it's literally a bunch of backup kids, but the Whitecaps are that damn good right now. Like, seriously, at MLS, they started this kid, Tate Johnson. They did not start it. They played this kid the other day, Tate Johnson. He's right out of the NCAA. He came in and played well. Like, they're on fire, this team. Unbelievable. So, yeah, they're up 2-1 right now. All right, the Nuggets and the T-Wolves are just getting started. And I'm taking the Denver Nuggets in this game. I don't understand the number. Maybe it's a trap. But, the Nuggets are balling. Jokic is a freaking monster. And the T-Wolves are good. They're okay. But to me, like I said, I just don't get this number. Let's bring in Cam Stewart and Brady Cannon right now. Big golf tournament this week. I always kid about all the tournaments being the unofficial fifth major. I guess this is the one, right, that they actually do take that seriously.
Yeah.
But we got picks to get to right now, like the Ducks and Utah, Canadians and Kraken. You got basketball. Kev, what are your hockey picks? What are you doing with the Canadians in the Kraken game?
The Canadians have been great to us. I'm going to take them again as a pooch against the Kraken. I know the Kraken, it's hard for Montreal to win back-to-back on the road, but this team is special right now. It's kind of like you talk about the Whitecaps. The Canadians are feeling it. They're in the playoff hunt. You want to give me a nice pooch with Montreal, I'll take it. The Utah game, I'm going to pass. I'm hoping that, they're minus 300. I think they're going to win the game, but I'm not laying 1.5. So I hope they go down 1-0, and I'll bet that game live. But Montreal off the hop, Gabe. Good game between Vancouver and Calgary, tied at 1 right now, too. Huge playoff implications.
See, I'm so discombobulated, Brady, and good to see you. I was like, I got to get my Denver Nugget bet in. I already got my Denver Nugget bet in. Like, you know what I mean? I nearly just double-clicked it. And next week is March Madness, and people are like, think March Madness is crazy. But really, Brady, for like college basketball bettors, and like consider I bet all sports too, it's overwhelming right now. Like March Madness, bro, it's just Thursday and Friday. There's a bunch of games Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday, there's less games than there is on a regular season Saturday. But today, like this week, with the college basketball, like starting at 9 a.m., like West Coast time, Brady, until like, it's literally like 16-hour sessions every day, bro. I've been clicking away, but how you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, no, I heard a friend talk about that yesterday. Like this is kind of the under the radar week to come to Las Vegas and bet college basketball and sit in the sports book for 16 hours. Everybody thinks it's a couple. Everybody thinks it's a couple weeks from now. The opening round of the tournament. That's a zoo. And prices are jacked up and everything's crazy. This is like the real gambler special right now. Like you said, basketball wall to wall. And yeah, you come in on Wednesday, you're going to get some of the lousier teams playing. But by the time you get to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you've got the Dukes and the Houstons and the Auburns and, it's conference tournaments. This is for the guys that go deep. They come out this weekend rather than a couple weeks from now.
That's what I said last night, Brady. I said March Madness is like New Year's Eve. It's amateur hour.
Yeah.
Right, this is the real deal. But you're right about that. Like, listen, Vegas, like March Madness, it's like spring break or something for some, right?
Yeah.
It's a rite of passage. You're supposed to go as a kid and get wasted in Vegas and bet on college basketball for 4 days at March Madness. But I hate to sound old, guys, but you all know what I'm talking about, and you're there still, Brady, right now. In my day, it wasn't $800 to get a chair at the sports book.
God, ridiculous.
In my day, I used to get mad that I had to wait in line to get a drink.
Too.
I was like, man, it's too packed here. I don't like this.
Let's
go to
the
Circus
second week is really good,
there.
too. The second week is really good, too. And what I love about the
less
second
tourists are there. The tourists are sort of gone. It's more of a...
You don't have as many games, but they start later, so you can, like, play golf in the morning or, whatever you want to do in the morning. You roll into the sports book about 2 o'clock or something, and you watch games until 10 o'clock at night. The second weekend, when they whittle down to the Final Four, is a real good weekend, too. The opening weekend has, it's like coming here for Super Bowl. I prefer championship weekend. I prefer, 2 weeks before when you get 2 games, which are oftentimes better than the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is a zoo. Prices are jacked up. Everything's crazy. It's like the first weekend of March Madness.
But you're right, guys. In Vegas, it really is super cool. The conference tournament week, you've got games all over the city. So
games here in town, live action.
Yeah, you don't even have to, you could be in your area. You could be like, yeah, they're playing right here at the T-Mobile across the street, or yeah, right up there at the Orleans, or yeah, they're right over there at the Thomas and Mack. Like, you could go to multiple games in a day and different tournaments if you wanted.
Yep.
Like, it's super cool. It's listen, Vegas is a basketball center of America. It really
the only
is,
one that's not here anymore is the Pac-12, which was a shame, because then you could really got the WAC, the Big West, the WCC, the Mountain West, and then you had the Pac-12 as well.
You know what, though? Why not? I was thinking, I talked about this. Why not I bang on, Brady. I was like, well, put the Big Ten tournament in L.A. next year, like in future years, right? Like,
it probably
they're
will.
in the Big Ten.
It probably will.
Right?
Yeah.
Or Vegas, like they used to. This Saturday we'll play in Vegas. Like, that was the whole point of bringing the West Coast teams in, to get West Coast exposure. Right?
Final Four is going to be here eventually.
Oh, yeah, no, it is. It's already booked in like 3 years.
Is it booked?
It's already done. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be. But, like, why do you think the Big Ten guys brought Rutgers in? Like, you think the Big Ten commissioners were sitting there going, you know what? We really need Rutgers to be a complete conference, guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why did they bring Rutgers into the Big Ten?
It really completes the puzzle.
Yes,
yeah, they were like, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. Yeah, we're just missing Rutgers, though, guys. We get Rutgers, you know what I mean? Like, no, but the reason they did was so they could use Madison Square Garden suddenly.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Suddenly they were in the New York market, and they were like, hey, we could do a tournament at MSG now if we want. Right? And now the same thing with LA. You sort of bring that into the mix. All right, we'll hit the golf on the other side. College basketball, let's roll.
The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Is that kind of helpful when it comes to preparing for a major? Is that you're just like 1 foot in front of you at this point?
Ideally come to a place here at Bay Hill where I've had good success in the past. I've only played it the last 21, 2, 3, and 4. But I've played it well, and I really like that we're heading there with where I'm at right now. I think it's going to tell me a lot.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
(11-3) for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Quick start. Good time to jump in on the Nuggets if you didn't get in on tip-off here. Let's see, what do they move it to? They probably haven't moved it much. The T-Wolves are minus 3.5 right now. So you're getting 3.5 with the Nuggets plus 125. College basketball. Speaking of Rutgers, we're on Rutgers. They were down big, and I was going to take them again at the half. I got them to plus 1 before the game, and they were down by 10 at the break or 11 or whatever, but they were down all half. It was looking pretty. They were getting killed early. I thought, you know what, plus 8.5 looks good. They're not going to quit. They're going to come back. They have come back. It's 69-67 right now with a minute and a half left against USC. Villanova's crushing Seton Hall is expected 35-17. We got a close one as expected. Oklahoma and Georgia. Georgia 37-34. I'm on the Sooners plus the points. Kansas. UCF are hanging around. Kansas were up big early, but it's 40-37 right now at the half for the Jayhawks. Syracuse and SMU. It's 25-22 for SMU. We're on Syracuse plus the points. And we got a championship game coming up soon. Northern Colorado and Montana.
That'll be
I
a
think
good
it's going to
game.
go. Yeah, it should be a fun
game.
one. I think it's going to go over to 147. Actually, both these teams.
Yep. I could
They
buy that.
average 157 points combined during the season, right? Like that's, you know what I mean? It's a little light. I get it. It's a championship game. Things tighten up a bit, but in this conference, it generally plays to the over. Northern Colorado guys, 2.5-point favorites. I don't know if you're playing it, Brady and Cam. Northern Colorado are good, but Montana just have that pedigree, right? It's one of those teams that finds a way at this time of the year to win. I'm going to go with the Grizzlies plus the 2.5, and I like the over the game. Cam, what are you playing? Are you going to play this game? Big Sky.
I am. I love the Big Sky. It's funny. It's two bears fighting each other, Grizzlies versus Bears. So, yeah, it's a war of bears. And I lean, you know what, Gabe? Northern Arizona, they've been good to me, but you're right about the Montana Grizz. They're a very good program. It's a tight spread for a reason. I do like the over. You play more totals than I do, but, you know, they think the championship game, these teams they run up and down the court over, and I have a lean to Northern Arizona.
Northern Colorado.
Northern Colorado. Sorry,
Colorado.
what am I doing? I'm
Northern
thinking
Colorado.
Lumberjacks. Yeah, Northern.
And the Lumberjacks aren't a bad team either. There was a handful of good teams in that conference this year. But I tell you what, Northern Colorado or Montana, watch out for those guys in the first round of the Big Dance. I think either one of them, you know, catching 16 points or something like that could give somebody trouble. They might be a 12, 13, 14, 16 seed. Who knows what they're going to be. But I think they could be a sneaky underdog when it comes tournament time.
One good thing about Montana is, you know, they're not going to lose players to the NBA. And the NIL stuff and the transfer stuff isn't as rampant in college basketball and at the smaller level, I should say. You know what I'm saying? So they always have, like, they got guys that are experienced that have been there together and stuff. And we're getting a full 3 right now. Like if Northern Colorado was getting a 3, I'd say, you know what? Maybe I'll look at this because I think this game could go to overtime type deal. I think it will be that close. So I think points are going to be at a premium. So I'll take the 3 with Montana. All right, so let's get into some golf. Just quickly with the hockey, I do agree with Cam as far as the Canadians are concerned. I don't think it's overwhelming for them that they're going back-to-back. They're a young team. They're fired up. And also Vancouver and Seattle back-to-back is one of the – it's a light back-to-back. Like basically, you know what I mean? Like the Montreal Canadiens arrived in Seattle last night, like basically like at midnight. Like they left the arena in Vancouver and they went to Seattle. Like it's in some cities it would be like a drive home in traffic, like in LA or something. You know what I mean? It's a 40-minute flight for them. So it's a quick turnaround for the Canadians. The Canucks, for the record, and the Flames, massive game tonight. It's 2-1 right now for the Canucks. Mid-second. All right, so we got the TPC, the Players' Championship, ready to rock and roll. People in the golf world are sort of excited about this, as it's like the first real tournament of the year. And Scheffler's looking for greatness in history here, Brady, isn't he? Jack, I saw that Jack and Tiger have won this event 3 times. This guy's trying to do it in 3 years.
Yeah. He would be the first ever. He was the first ever to go back-to-back last year. Not even Jack and Tiger have done that. So the three-peat would obviously be very rare air, and I don't think he's going to get it. We were talking about some very popular picks, Matsuyama, Straka, Morikawa. The 3 most popular picks, highest ticket count percentage at BetMGM. Number 1, Ludwig Oberg. Number 2, Scotty Scheffler. Number 3, Colin Morikawa.
Interesting. I like Aberg too. 16-1. Almost seems too obvious. All right, we'll get their picks on the other side. Let's roll.
The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Is that kind of helpful when it comes to preparing for a major? Is that you're just like 1 foot in front of you at this point?
Ideally come to a place here at Bay Hill where I've had good success in the past. I've only played it the last 21, 2, 3, and 4. But I've played it well, and I really liked it that we're heading there with where I'm at right now. I think it's going to tell me a lot.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. There's some crazy stuff going on right now with the review in Mexico, with the Whitecaps in Monterrey. It's 2-1 Caps. They're in the 96th minute right now. And what's this? So, man, Monterrey have a freaking penalty kick in the 96th minute. Of course they do, in Mexico. You give them the call.
Yeah, of course, you said it.
Like, dear God. Like, seriously, I'm seeing it right now. I'm like, dude, that's not a penalty kick.
You go to Mexico, you're done, Gabe. Hey, stay big it so.
Let's see if he can stop this. See if he can stop it.
You need a miracle.
No, he didn't
buddy.
stop it.
Of course he didn't. It's Mexico. It's worse.
Unbelievable. It's 2-2 now in the 96th minute, 97th minute, and they're only supposed to go 5 for the record. So they're gonna go to penalty kicks after this. Did it hit his arm? Like, I didn't really see it. Like, man, it was one of those kicks too. He just rolled it in on the ground, like he didn't really kick it. Like the goalie, that was not the best save by attempt, but he putted it in. He just putted it in. All right, so speaking of which, he did. He just rolled it in. The goalie just sort of got caught off guard and stood there like.
Hey, nice
all right,
putt, dude.
So who's going to put it in for the win this week, Brady? Who are you looking at?
Well, we talked about Morikawa. I went to him. I mean, he just makes too much sense here. I think he's going to bounce back and be right there in the mix off of that disappointment last week. I got him at 14-1. And yeah, I'm on the ever popular Sepp Straka. He just makes a ton of sense here. He's already won at a Pete Dye course this year. You know, basically, guys, I went with ball strikers. That's the theme of the Florida swing. Guys that are really accurate off the tee, guys that just nail their irons, and guys that can make a putt and scramble. And that's Morikawa and Straka. I went with Aaron Rai at 50-1. He is absolutely, laser accurate, can hit the irons well, hits the long irons well. And one of my correlated courses, the Wyndham Championship, you see all kinds of crossover success with the Wyndham. Webb Simpson, Siwoo Kim, Aaron Rai, another guy that has won at the Wyndham. Daniel Berger at 55-1. Love the Florida State connection there. This guy really plays well in the Sunshine State, and he's been so close You know, he was off the tour with injury the last couple of years. People forget he was a top 15 player in the world. I think he is ready. He has shown runner-up in Phoenix. This guy's ready to do it here pretty quick. It might be this week. And then we were talking about the volatility. There's no rhyme or reason to who wins here. You got Jason Day and Scheffler, and then you got Fred Funk and Craig Perks. It's just a potpourri of winners here, and I think it's a credit to how brilliant the Pete Dye design is. It doesn't necessarily cater to just one type of player, so you got to take some bombs. I took 3 guys at triple digits: JT Poston at 100-1, JJ Spawn at 110, and Joel Damon at 150.
Interesting selections. Cam, what do you think about his picks?
I love them. I didn't go on Straka. There's a lot of people are betting him, but he should do very well. I also took Aaron Rye at a boosted number. I don't know if we have time, Gabe. We can do it with Babano or now, but my outrights, I got 6 right now, and I had Rye from before. I got Justin Thomas at 28-1. This guy fits my categories, every single one, and he's an absolute bulldog. He'll want to win this tournament. Hideki, your guy, my guy. Tommy Fleetwood, it's like catching a falling knife, but you know what? He does everything well. Eventually, he's going to win. I wish I got more than 30. There we go, Brady. Burgers at your place. Throw them on the grill, 65-1. Wyndham Clark, second last year. And my bomb from Duke University, not as good as the basketball team, but Max Gracerman at 125-1. Those are my outrights.
What do you think of his picks, Brady?
Well, obviously, I like Daniel Berger, and absolutely Matsuyama is a guy. I almost went to Thomas. I was on him last week, and I almost went back to him this week. He's won here before. I agree with Cam. I think he could really bounce back as well. It just scared me off a little bit that he really fell off a cliff over the weekend. So I went back to Morikawa, almost went back to Thomas, but laid off. But no, I can't argue with the card at all.
Now, generally, I get it. People in the golf world don't like betting guys coming off of a win. And I don't know how many times a year what the average is of guys actually being able to go back to back. But how about Henley? Brady,
he makes a ton of sense here. He's absolutely has the game.
Like, put it this way. The only reason people wouldn't play him is because he won last week, right?
Yeah,
exactly. That's the only reason we wouldn't play him.
If Morikawa would have won and Henley finished second, there'd be a boatload of people on Henley this week because he's got that game. Extremely accurate off the tee, ball striker, can hole a putt, can hole an eagle chip on 16. Yeah, he's got the game that's made for this course.
Henley is the type of player, Gabe, when he gets confidence, he can ride it. His problem was he fell short. And this is the thing about golf. Once you get there and you beat Morikawa on a Sunday, it's like, I am one of the best players in the world. I am fighting for a Ryder Cup position. And he plays well on Pete Dye courses. So, to your point, Gabe, yes.
And he's done great at the Wyndham. I talked about that connection, right? He's done extremely well at the Wyndham.
How about a player that he's been around a while? He's not a flashy guy, so people aren't going to talk about him, but he played well at Pebble Beach. He's top 10 at Bay Hill. Justin Rose, big number, shot here, Brady, 150-1.
Absolutely.
Justin Rose is the Rodney Dangerfield of the PGA Tour. Yeah. He's finishing top 10 every week. Like, Gabe, for a top 20 bet, you'll get a crazy number. Like, Justin Rose is good. Like, he's still good.
What do you think, Brady?
Really good, and it's great what we're seeing him do. I love it. And a friend of mine bet him to win the Masters, which I don't think is the worst bet you can make, at 125-1. Rosie always plays well at the Masters. Lost in a playoff in 2017, I believe it was, maybe 2018 to Sergio. He's been first-round leader at Augusta, I believe, more than once, maybe 3 times. Always plays well there. One of the best putters at Augusta National is Justin Rose. So, no, I don't have a problem with him last week, this week, next week, and at Augusta. Justin Rose loves seeing this resurgence, at what, almost 40 years old, or maybe he is 40. Yeah. He's right around that number.
It's a good guy.
Those are 3 guys I'm looking at. Those 2, Henley, just how hot he is right now. Justin Rose, because of the value, and a player that I take quite often, just because he's so consistent, Hideki Matsuyama. What do you think about Hideki this week, Brady?
He's spot on. I mean, I was able to, so much about picking outrights is timing. And I was able to land correctly on Hideki at the beginning of the year in Maui when he won at the Century. Yeah. And I immediately bet him to win the Masters. There's a big connection between success at Kapalua and success at Augusta. Of course, Hideki's already won a green jacket. I think he could turn the trick again. He's been in that form for a minute, Gabe. It started last year when he shot a 62 in the final round at Riviera, and he won the Genesis Invitational. He won in Memphis to finish out the year as a part of the FedEx Cup playoffs. He wins at Kapalua. Yeah, he's due again. It could be this week. It could be next month at Augusta. He's going to get one again here pretty soon.
Unfinished business, too, Gabe. He was leading the tournament when they canceled it to COVID. Hideki was the leader, and he wants to win
I
this
was
tournament.
on him that year, too.
We talked about
that.
Has Xander,
man.
Has Xander played enough? What's the deal with Xander coming into this? I feel like he hasn't played a lot of golf lately.
I don't think he's ready, and I think he knows it, too. I don't think anybody expected him to do well last week. And, you know, the numbers drifted to a point where you're like, 30 something to 1, you know, that's interesting, but I don't think he's ready yet.
But you saw what he did on the weekend. He was way over par, and he actually went low over the weekend saying that he's getting better from injury. So that number, Gabe, you're getting a great number on a guy that is playing better after injury. Took him a few rounds, but he looks a lot better.
What about Rory?
I think deep in the back of his head, he's truly focused on being ready for the Masters. I don't know if
Rory,
he's,
ready now. That's what I'm thinking about Xander. He's getting ready for major season. I see Rory. Rory's playing well, and then out of the blue, he decides to change his clubs. I understand he's going back to his old bag again this week. Like, there's always something with Rory every week, isn't there, Brady?
There is. And, he didn't make my card this week. Too short of a price. I'm not on him or Scotty. Go Morikawa. Go Daniel Berger. Berger's at my place, Cam.
It's burger time.
The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Is that kind of helpful when it comes to preparing for a major? Is that you're just like 1 foot in front of you at this point?
Ideally come to a place here at Bay Hill where I've had good success in the past. I've only played it the last 21, 2, 3, and 4. But I've played it well, and I really like that we're heading there with where I'm at right now. I think it's going to tell me a lot.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Sirius XM channel 159. I'm just realizing now, I don't think people heard the intro, right? There was an audio glitch, or there was an issue to start the program. So here we are. Thanks to Brady Cannon for joining us. Dave Delano will step up in a moment. The Calgary Flames have just scored 2 quick goals, and the wheels are falling off for the Canucks. They gave up a shorthanded goal. And now, so then they gave up another one. So what was 2-1 is suddenly 3-2 for the Calgary Flames. 1-0 for Utah, and the Seattle Kraken have scored 4 minutes into the hockey game. So nothing but bad news from the NHL so far. 1-0 for the Kraken. College basketball, we're going to overtime at the Garden. USC and Rutgers. The Garden, that's the Big East. I'm so used to Rutgers and the Big East.
Too.
I'm so used to we were talking about it earlier. Why did the Big Ten get Rutgers? So they could play in New York and have the New York area. 73-73 in Chicago. Right now we're on Rutgers, and we took the in-game over here. So whatever. I've had a lot of bad luck today. I had good luck yesterday. I had bad luck today. You bet a million games during these tournaments. It's up, it's down. But I did bet over 151.5, and clearly it wasn't going to hit unless it went to overtime, and it's 73-73 right now, going to overtime. So for the record, Rutgers are now minus 135. USC are plus 105. Oklahoma is up 43-39 at the half on the Georgia Bulldogs in a big-time game. The Sooners are on the bubble. I can see the Sooners getting into that first four deal. They win this game. I think the Sooners, they have some nice wins, and the conference they're in is so difficult. This is a big game for both these teams. Kansas starting to pull away a little bit. They're up by 8 on UCF, and we're on Syracuse plus the 9. They're down by 3 at the half against SMU. SMU, 31-28. Let's bring in Dave Delano right now, see what he thinks about these games. Dave, good to see you. How you doing tonight?
Good to see you, too. I'm glad to hear, same club as you, I'm glad to see that this Rutgers and USC game is going in overtime. I'm also on the over 151.5, and we were not going to get there.
No, we weren't. And it's happened a couple of times where overtimes helped me, but I've also lost a couple of backbreakers. Like we've been talking about, Dave, this is crazier than March Madness because there's more games. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm living March Madness right now. Like, it's actually obsessed me almost too much. Like, the last, 3 days, all I've done is, basically watch college basketball. Like, I don't even care about NBA. Tonight, I actually bet the Thunder game, but I'm like, yeah, whatever. Just college basketball. And I love the smaller conferences playing for a spot. Like, last night, I watched the St. Francis game. Speaking of which, what do you think, Dave, of the Montana and Northern Colorado game coming up?
I like Colorado, Northern Colorado in this one. It's not one I bet personally just because it was at 2.5, and it kind of feels like one of those types of games that's going to come down to making this shot. Yeah, it's pretty much a toss-up, and because I do like the favorite, you don't want to, even though it's a toss-up, if you don't really love the dog, you don't want to take it just because, but I would lean Northern Colorado in that one. But one that I really like tonight that's coming up, which not really much of a surprise on who's going to win the game, but UNLV and Air Force. I love UNLV in that one. Just definitely fading Air Force the way that they've been getting destroyed. I know that it's numbers up to 12-13, but Air Force has just been one of the worst teams against the spread, even losing, I think, their last game by almost 40 points.
It came down right to the number in the end. I had UNLV on the money line and 68-59 final. So UNLV got up to 12 at one point. It was 12-13. They were down. I was panicking because I had a money line parlay on them. They were losing most of the game, and they dialed it up. They outscored them 47-34. When it was all said and done. So 68-59 final. One thing with the Rebels, they're playing their best basketball of the year right now. I don't think they're going to have enough juice to go all the way and run through this. Now they get Utah State up next tomorrow, the 3-seed Utah State. But UNLV, guys, 7-3 in their last 10 games. For them, that's pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They've ended the season strong. Right, they had a nice win against San Diego State. They had a nice win against Nevada. They had some nice wins down the stretch. And so coming up still here right now, we got some D-Gen specials. See, Dave, I thought you were going to throw us the Grand Canyon game when you said a game coming up. We know who's going to win. You got Grand Canyon and UT Arlington coming up. Grand Canyon, the Lopes laying 8.5. And one thing, Cam and Dave, with the Lopes, and I follow this program pretty closely. One thing with this team is people have been been down on them this year. And, they're not the same team and this and that. They actually win games. They just don't cover point spreads.
Exactly.
Right? Like if you look, like here they are. They're on the verge of making it to the NCAA tournament. They just haven't covered numbers because the odds makers caught up to them. They were overvalued. But they are a 23-17, Dave, right? They played 30 games and only lost 7 times. UTA are one of these teams. They lost like 6, 7 in a row coming into the conference tournament, and then they bang off a couple of wins. I've sort of learned my lesson over the years, guys. You get caught up with these teams in these tournaments. You bet on a team on the Monday, and you're like, oh, they covered for me. And look, they're getting points again on the Tuesday. And, like, you take them again, and then there's, like, an inclination where you're like, man, they've been good to me all week. Yeah, you know it, Dave, man. It's hard to play, like, 3-4 games in 3-4 days or whatever for these teams. Even if you're a kid and you're a college player, it's going to catch up. And I could see it catching up to Arlington tonight in the second half where Grand Canyon pull away.
Just a point. What about Idaho? It caught up to them. They were on fire. They're beating everybody as an underdog, and then they got murdered their last game. Eventually, it will catch up with you. The Vandals got smoked.
They weren't very good either. Exactly, but so they were punching above their weight, and sort of same thing with UTA right now. A couple of wins, okay, but not in love with the 8.5. But I do think Grand Canyon are going to win, and I wouldn't take the underdog. And on the other side, we'll hit Cal Poly Slow and UC Davis going off the board soon. Cal Poly Slow -1, UC Davis +1, 150 is the total. Montana, Northern Colorado is going to be the fun one, though, guys, here tonight. Montana now getting a full 3, getting a field goal. Let's rock.
The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Is that kind of helpful when it comes to preparing for a major? Is that you're just like 1 foot in front of you at this point?
Ideally come to a place here at Bay Hill where I've had good success in the past. I've only played it the last 21, 2, 3, and 4. But I've played it well, and I really like that we're heading there with where I'm at right now. I think it's going to tell me a lot.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Unbelievable. The Vancouver Whitecaps have just advanced and punched their ticket to the quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Champions League. This is like really unbelievable. Like that they beat the Costa Rican team in the first round, and it wasn't easy. Oh, Saprissa. Saprissa. It wasn't easy for them, but they got it done 2-1 late. Remember, they scored in like the 93rd minute. And then they had to play Monterrey. Monterrey are like one of the better Mexican teams for real. Like, they have real players. They take it seriously. They're kind of struggling this year a little bit. But one thing I think helped the Whitecaps tonight, and I tweeted this earlier today, you got to be on top of everything, but I'm shocked. I didn't have the Whitecaps. I took it in game, but I didn't think they were on the alt line. I didn't think they had a chance. I didn't think they were going to win this game tonight. But Shakira takes over the world. Shakira's world tour continues, and Shakira was actually playing in Monterrey Stadium tonight. So they had to play it, and they played at the home of Santos Laguna instead. And there weren't a lot of fans there because of it. So I think the Whitecaps caught a big break tonight. But this is super impressive stuff for the Whitecaps. For any MLS team to get this far in this tournament's impressive. But the fact that it's the freaking Vancouver Whitecaps, knocking off Monterrey, unbelievable. And now they're going to play Pumas or I can't even say this other team. Let's just call them LD. So I don't butcher the name and get shot by their fans.
Let's call them LD.
No, they're LD Alajuenes. I guess
Alajuenes.
Alajuenes.
The fact that Vancouver won in Mexico, are you kidding me? And you talked about the penalty shot late? That's double win, man. That,
they
that
even tried
happen.
to screw them, and then they turn around and score a minute later.
It's craziness. I don't even know what to say. That's shocking.
Unbelievable stuff. This team, what a betting team, too. The Whitecaps, one of the best bets in sports right now. They keep winning, and they're underdogs or they're small favorites. Wild, wild stuff. All right, the T-Wolves are up 10 on Denver right now. And in the other, we got Champions League, CONCACAF Champions League stuff going on here. We got an all-Mexican battle going on. Club America and Guadalajara. It's 1-0 for Club Mexico. Now they're tied 1-1 on aggregate. They just started. There's 20 minutes into the first half. And the LA Galaxy are hosting Herediano. And they're down 1-0 on aggregate, but the game is scoreless 20 minutes in. So we'll keep our eye on this. Dave, you got to love this time of the year, Dave. Man, this is the D-Gen special, all kinds of sports. Cam's ready for the TPC Golf Championship. You bet golf?
I don't bet golf. You aren't having a hard time keeping up with this March Madness already, man. You got time to bet Mexican soccer and curling and everything else going on as well with this with these college tournaments. So you're not having an issue with it. But right now, for me, college basketball, NHL, and NBA are the main focuses for me, and then of course baseball coming up. Not golf, not yet.
43-33. I don't know. Did you bet this T-Wolves and Nuggets game tonight? The T-Wolves are up 10 on Denver. It was a small price. Denver were only -1.5, and maybe the sports books knew something here. It's a 10-point game, and the Portland Trailblazers and the Knicks, guys, 38-37 for the Blazers. Of course, no Brunson for the New York Knicks. Any thoughts on the late night NBA, Dave, for you?
No, not for me. Before this game, I was looking at that Denver game, but anytime you see Jamal Murray and Joker questionable, sometimes with all these college games, I just went past that one. I was on the over in the Spurs and Mavericks game earlier on today. Right now for the NBA, just being real selective with ones that I like. There's a lot of still college basketball that I've got my eye on, but nothing too much in the NBA for me tonight.
How about this? Rutgers and USC guys are tied at 81 now in overtime with 30 seconds left. So their possession's massive right now. USC just missed a shot. And Rutgers have a chance to win the basketball game here, tied at 81 to finish this thing off. An underachieving Rutgers team this year, but this would be a big win for them to advance, although I get the feeling we're going to double overtime here just to torture us all. And are we? Are we going to overtime here? It's coming up against it. And they missed the shot. Wow.
So
81. Dude, we're going to double overtime now, Dave. Rutgers and USC, they're tied again after overtime.
Rutgers is one of those teams that they can sneak in. They're not a team that they don't want to play going forward.
The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Is that kind of helpful when it comes to preparing for a major? Is that you're just like 1 foot in front of you at this point?
Ideally come to a place here at Bay Hill where I've had good success in the past. I've only played it the last 21, 2, 3, and 4. But I've played it well, and I really like that we're heading there with where I'm at right now. I think it's going to tell me a lot.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Level 2 has begun. This is SportsRage. I am Morency, Sirius XM Channel 159, SportsGrid Radio and Television Networks. All right, so I mentioned Cal Poly Slow and UC Davis. DGen special coming up in about a half hour, a little less than a half hour, 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific. And should be noted, UC Davis have absolutely UC Davis and it's been a one-sided rivalry between these two. The last 10 times they played, UC Davis have won 9 of them. UC Davis have beaten them 7 straight times, 6 straight times outright, actually. And the game is basically a pick-em because of the fact that Cal Poly Slow are actually, they've won, they're 4-1 in their last 5 games, and they're scoring a ton of points. They hung 83 on Long Beach. They hung 100 on Fullerton. They dropped 98 on Santa Barbara. They dropped 112 on Irvine. They're actually peaking right now at the right time. And then you look at UC Davis, guys. UC Davis come in riding a 6-game losing streak. This is an ultimate DGen special. We're talking about betting on 14 and 18 and 15 and 16 teams, Dave and Cam. But I'm going to go with Cal Poly Slow to get it done here tonight. And this is going to be, Dave, like my my Hawaii football game special, the late night bailout special. Cal Poly Slow to save the night. Let's rock.
Well, play devil's advocate. I'll go with UC Davis just for the fact of these are always interesting spots you run into at the tournament. You go against history versus what team's trending in the better direction. And sometimes teams just have another team's number, and that can give you confidence in a situation like that. So I would put maybe Gatorade money on UC Davis for me.
Cal Poly's hotter than hell, man. They're hot. Like, they are hot, 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 hot. I'm with you, Gabe. Give me Cal Poly Slow, like my buddy's 2 favorite bets, the Citadel and Cal Poly Slow. That guy loved garbage bin, and I'm with you. But this Cal Poly Slow team, as Gabe mentioned, these guys are lighting it up right now. Their offense looks good. They're winning games. I'll take them. Give me Cal Poly Slow.
The Cal Poly Slow right now, they're like I said, their offense has been on fire as of late. But like you said, Dave, generally, too, you hear that expression, oh, well, it's tough to beat a team 3 times and it's the same team 3 times in a season. Dude, the team that wins, I saw a stat, like, I talked about this, like, last year, 2 years ago, whatever. Like, the team that wins the first 2 games wins, like, 88% of the time the third time, too. Like, if you're better than the other team, you're better than the other team, right? But,
right,
you know, there are exceptions to the rules. We saw last night the Vermont Catamounts had beaten the Maine Black Bears 30 consecutive times, and they lost to them last night. But this wasn't a great Vermont team this year. All right, so yeah, we're going to play Cal Poly slow to win the game, and let's go over the 150. It should be noted, UC Davis don't want to get into a track meet. Their games are lower scoring, so who's going to win the tempo battle here is going to be pretty important. But we'll go Cal Poly slow to get it done, and let's go over the 150 as well. All right, we got Delano in the house with us. Let's take a look at the overnight numbers, see if Dave likes anything in the morning tomorrow in the afternoon. As we've got some from your old stomping grounds, Dave, actually. We got some action. Bowling Green and Akron in action to get the day started, 11 o'clock Eastern. We got Duquesne, St. Bonaventure, St. John's get the party started tomorrow. And in fact, let's look at some of these futures here. I said it last night, Dave. I don't think St. John's are going to win the Big East tournament, actually, Dave. Marquette are like plus 650. UConn are still dangerous. Listen, St. John's are a good team, but I'm not sure they should be overwhelming favorites to win the Big East. But they open up action tomorrow. They're laying 12.5 to Butler. An interesting game tomorrow, guys, the Hoosiers and the Ducks. I think the Hoosiers are in the tournament even if they lose this game, but winning the game would really be big for Woodson and the Hoosiers. They just lost, obviously. So, you know, you got the Ducks here. They're minus 1.5 point favorites in this game. What are your thoughts, Dave, on tomorrow's card? Some interesting games early in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. I do like St. John's tomorrow against Butler, but I completely agree with you as far as not liking St. John's to win the tournament, because you have a lot of these teams in the Big East. They're not going to get in unless they find a way to win this tournament. I mean, St. John's, for the most part, they're looking at worst, the 3 seed, I'm thinking. I know, Patino is going to say all the right things, but they just don't have that same motivation. I mean, teams like Marquette, I think even Villanova could be dangerous in this tournament. It's pretty much wide open after St. John's. As far as my old stomping grounds go, Bowling Green, exciting news with Eddie George taking over the football team. But I think my Falcons are going to get spanked tomorrow. I like the Akron minus 10.5. Now it's up to 11.5, but I still like the Akron Zips. I think even for a futures, I usually don't like taking the favorite or the obvious team. But when you're still getting plus money for people who are future bettors for the MAC tournament, I think Akron covers against Bowling Green, and I also like them at plus 150. You've got 3 teams really in this tournament that have no chance. And then when you look at Ohio's matchup against Toledo, then Toledo, the fact that they just never win the tournament, it kind of turns into about a 3-team race. And I think Akron's a good play for tomorrow. Also think even though Ohio and Toledo have played high-scoring games, playing in that different drop there in the Cleveland Cavaliers stadium, I kind of like that under 161.5 in the game between Toledo and Ohio University as well. So those are some of my thoughts on some of the action.
There's some pretty good numbers up on the board for these conference tournaments, isn't there? Like we talked about some, like the Big Ten's a good example as well. Although the books pulled a lot of them right now. I'm looking. They don't have all the conferences up. But what do you think about the Big Ten? Michigan State are favored, but that's the type of conference where anybody can beat anybody on a given day. It's not like Michigan State are head and shoulders above like everybody in the Big Ten at all, right? They just happened to, it was like musical chairs, all right? They won the conference, good for them. But it's a very evenly matched conference. And, Illinois, I think, are a pretty dangerous team. Wisconsin are a dangerous team. Michigan stumbled down the stretch, but they can get good suddenly as well. They're 14-1, although I don't think they're going to win it all. Hell, the Ducks are a good basketball team right now. What do you think about the Big Ten tournament, Dave?
I agree with what you said. The Ducks definitely are dangerous. And when you look at those lines and you're looking to make a bet or futures bets, Now Michigan State, they are the best team on that list, but every other team on that list can also beat the Spartans on any given night. So you don't really want to, you're not really getting enough value there for them. And I think the thing about the Big Ten that's going to be so exciting is that Oregon's at the bottom of that list with those odds, and on any given night they can beat any team in this tournament. So I agree. The Big Ten's wide open. I think Rutgers, if they can get by tonight, I don't know exactly what the score is now. I know they're going into another overtime. They could be dangerous. Michigan,
oh God, they're about to lose. It's 89-83. USC are up by 6. Yeah, with a minute and a half left.
And with Ohio State losing today too, I mean, that opens up, I think, things if another team can make a run. I don't know how Ohio State was still on the bubble, but I feel like Ohio State should be pretty much a done deal not to be in the tournament after today.
Yeah, that was wild. You're right, Dave. That Ohio State was still on the bubble. Dave Delano, hitthepick.com. Get Sports Strong is his X account. That's where people can find you. Anywhere else, Dave, where people can find you?
Yeah, the main places, getsportstrong.com, hitthepick.com. Thanks again.
Awesome stuff. Dave Delano in the house with us. Hitthepick.com.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency, and I've often said every lock has a key, right? There's no such thing as a lock in the betting world, in the sports betting world. There are, there are games where teams should win, and a lot of things have to go wrong for them not to win, but every lock has a key. And then you get into these conference tournaments, and as we were discussing, it's hard to want to take the favorites in any of them, really. Right? Like the Auburn Tigers. Okay, Auburn are really good. So is everybody else in the SEC. So, Auburn's going to be playing, they're going to be in close games, so anything can happen. The Big Ten is the same thing, right? Yeah, Michigan State are good. It's not like Michigan State kill teams or anything like that. Like, Michigan State, they're going to be in a battle, man, right? It's going to be a battle with whoever they play in this tournament throughout, like, when we get into the weekend, into the semifinals and the championship, etc. But if there's one conference, guys, that I would say, all right, this is like if you're in a lot of trouble, Cam, and you owe the mob a lot of money, and you're like, man, I got to figure something out. I got to raise $125,000 quickly.
That's a lot of money.
That's why you're in a lot of trouble.
Yes.
Like, if there was one, I'm going to say, though, if there's one team that I would say, I would go with Yale, guys. The thing is, it's minus 180. So Yale are minus 180 to win the Ivy League tournament. And there's not a million teams in this tournament. Like, they only have to win a couple of games. And they're really dominant, this team. Like, they've absolutely dominated Ivy League play. So, and it's not like these other conferences, like, if you're Auburn, it's like, good for you, dude. Like, the kids on Tennessee are as good as you are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, athletically, it's not like Auburn are like stepping on the floor and we're way better than everybody. Yale are, right? That's the thing. Like, you got Yale, all they got to do, there's only 4 teams, right? It's a regular season and they flip it over. So there's only 4 teams in the tournament. Yale, Cornell, Dartmouth, and Princeton. Yale are minus 180, Cornell are plus 300, Dartmouth are plus 750, Princeton are 11-1. So basically, guys, if you took, normally these future plays, they're not that great, like if you add up the math and stuff. But if you look at Yale, if you parlayed both games and stuff, I think you're getting a better number. Like, they're going to be big favorites, Yale, in both games. So you're getting it minus 180. You take the point spread out of the equation. And to put in context, Yale are 20-7 straight up on the season, but they're 13-1 in conference play. So they've only lost one game all year against Ivy League teams. Cornell are 9-5 in conference play. Princeton are 8-6 in conference play. And Dartmouth are 8-6. Cornell are a 17-10 team. Princeton are always pretty good. Princeton are 19-10. And Dartmouth are usually not this good, actually, but they're 14-13 overall. So I would say Yale, guys, if you're looking for that, like, all right, which team can I hang my hat on this weekend? And then take a shot with somebody underdogs. Because I am going to take a shot with the dogs, Cam. I only have to hit one of them, and I won't lose money if I get a Marquette or I get a Tennessee home or one of the Alabama or something. I haven't fully decided on the I kind of like Florida, but I don't like the plus 275 odds with them in the SEC. But I do like Yale, guys, to punch their ticket. It's minus 180. And I bring it up right now because I would imagine this tournament doesn't start until Saturday. It's like Saturday and Sunday type thing. It's going to go up. Like, degenerates, like the public aren't betting Yale to win right now, but people will on Friday night when they're like, oh, the Ivy League starts tomorrow, right? Like, so you're getting a better number now. Good parlay material, too. You sort of, if there's a big favorite now, guys, you like, and you're like, it's minus 300 on the money line, but I think they're going to win. Boom. Put it with Yale to win the Ivy League. The Ivy League special, Yale.
I'm with you. I go through the numbers, and I did it like days ago. Yale they opened up at minus 130. Now they're minus 180. I couldn't, when you said Yale, I'm like, yes, that is the one. You said it. There's 4 teams in the damn tournament. They don't have to go through everybody. I think it's one of the best bets out there. I agree with you. And I don't mind laying that juice. Even 180 to your point. Sure, parlay it with something. But that's the one team. They dominate conference play. They're solid. They played a couple close games against some other teams. Like Cornell's pretty good. But no, it's Yale. And I think that price is still reasonable. And you don't have to deal with everybody. Look at the size of their tournament compared to other tournaments. It's great. Win a couple, you win. Exactly what you said. Yale. Done.
Yeah, the one team they lost to, too, isn't in the tournament, which I like. Like, you know what I mean? To be like, oh, yeah, but you know what? Princeton or whatever beat them. They smoked Princeton, 84-57. Like, look at the teams in the tournament. Actually, Dartmouth gave Yale all they can handle. It was a 5-point game, but it was at Dartmouth, the game. It was a home game for them. And Harvard beat Yale a couple of weeks ago. But I do think Yale are going to get it done. And listen, they open up with Princeton, so it's almost like that's the tougher game. So they got to get through the game on Saturday. It's an early morning game, 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific, and then they play their championship on Sunday the next day. One spot, obviously, for the Ivy League. All right, we got a best of X here. We're mixing it up. We got some bowling for our best of X tonight. Some trick shot bowling. I haven't been bowling in a while. I feel like I want to go. I was actually thinking about going bowling the other day. I wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm going to go bowling right now. But I was thinking I really should go bowling. I actually read an article about like one of the oldest bowling alleys in North America. And I walk past it sometimes, and it's like this really old school, like you know, one of the old classic bowling alley, but it's always packed. You got to sort of reserve in advance because it's a popular spot. But I don't know if I'd be able to do this shot, actually, though. So check this dude out. So look, he just spun the ball. And he whips one. Boom.
What the hell is what?
Now watch this, though, kid. So he spins the first ball, strikes the other one, and watch.
Oh, my God.
It takes so long, they re-rack it. You're like, no, you're kind of not going to get a strike here. Watch.
Yes, that's one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. That is
got
unbelievable.
2 strikes with one joint on the ball.
He even had the timing down for the re-rack.
Yeah, to do that, like, it's so casual that he just rolls the ball. It's like, all right, you're going to roll the ball, but how are you going to roll it that's going to be strong enough that it's actually going to, like, the timing and the perfect touch of it, right? Like, how are you going to get a strike the second time like that with the ball going so slow? Just the perfect spot. He knew, boom.
The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Is that kind of helpful when it comes to preparing for a major? Is that you're just like 1 foot in front of you at this point?
Ideally come to a place here at Bay Hill where I've had good success in the past. I've only played it the last 21, 2, 3, and 4. So, but I've played it well, and I really liked it that we're heading there with where I'm at right now. I think it's going to tell me a lot.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we're all so impressed. We got to watch this again, actually. Please. And I'm going to go bowling. I'm going to try this. I'll film myself trying this, Kim. Yeah, I'm going to film it.
Like, good luck. That's great.
I'm going to roll the ball, and then, like the one, like him throwing it over the other one is crazy too. Like, bam, like the way he did it so quickly. And then the timing. Watch it resets. It's like, no. Oh, hey. Uh-oh.
Did you see those? Oh my God. No, but another thing is too, on the first ball, look at he put that thing hooked about 2 feet right before to get that strike. Like, that's another thing. Like, you can't just throw the ball. Like, what he did like 10 things perfectly. Like, I don't even know if you
This
can
guy's definitely like a pool. He's like a pool shark. Imagine him in the alley, like betting people, going, I bet you I could roll a ball and I'll get 2 strikes. It'll go up.
Honestly,
he'd be like, I'll give you $5,000. Like,
yes, he's taking rich guys like friggin' cars and paychecks. Like that is
I'm sure there's an underground bowling scene like that, like betting for dollars. Hell, we bet while we bowling. Yeah. People don't know. Years ago, we were in Vegas doing like a live event, and we still party, but we really partied in those days. We were partying very hard, and we weren't sleeping or anything like that. So we were just sort of like going hard for like all day, all night. And we went bowling at like 4 a.m. type of deal in Vegas. And we didn't know. It was in our hotel by chance. We were staying at Sunset Station in Henderson. And it was like 24 hours, their bowling alley. It was like, oh, it was open, huh? And they had drinks and stuff. So it was like, whatever. And we went in there. And it was literally, they had like the PBA stuff up and stuff. Like we were like watching on TV. Like the PBA was doing an event there. And because I remember Merrill goes, hey guys, I was watching in the room and they're filming like downstairs. Like, and we're like, yeah, we just played there. And I don't know, I was pretty wrecked, but I remember we upset them pretty good. Like they came over to us a couple of times at the lanes there.
Yeah.
And I remember we won the money. I remember we won the bet. It was me, Cam, Frankable, and Shell Dog, and we bet like $200 or something. We're like there, and like bam, and they were freaking out, like, "Hey guys, you're crossing, like you're throwing the ball too hard on the wood," and like we were letting it go, wa-boom, wa-boom, like,
yeah, they hate
really throwing fastballs.
Right before an event too, these idiots come out there and like smashing the bowling alley. Like,
yeah, they were like, "Hey, there's an event here, huh?"
Yeah, I know.
Like,
what?
It's like when we went curling, too. I've only curled once in my life. Wow. There was a SportsGrid Fantasy Sports Network curling party. It was like a Christmas party at a curling rink in Toronto. I've never curled before. And it's a big booze fest. So, like, they have a bar, and it's like you go on the ice and stuff. So I had a few drinks, and the first, like, couple of rocks I threw, man, I nearly put a rock through the boards, if you remember, Cam. Like, they came over to me. They're like,
oh,
dude,
they're
like, yo, don't do that again. Like, I didn't know how hard to do it. It was far away. Yeah. So I did the whole, like, real curling thing, guys. I went down and let the rock go, and the rock picked up steam, man. And all you heard was, like, sounded like a car crash. Well, bam! It smashed the wood and the boards. Yes. And the curling marshal came out and goes, hey, listen, hey. He goes, hey, whoa. You got to throw the rock a lot softer.
That ice is perfect for curling. Yeah, that's the thing. Those things, if you want to do it hard, they fly. And honestly, you're right, Gabe. Like I thought you put a hole through the wood, but it was very close.
Those rocks are like 40 pounds, Cam. Like they pick up steam. Yeah. Like I didn't know. It seemed like I didn't know. Like I was like, I don't know. Like, do I throw it hard or soft? How does this work?
No,
curling's hard. I couldn't get the touchdown, guys, because then I tried to do it softly and it would go halfway, and then I would try hard and it would sail off. Like, it's not, curling is not as easy as it looks in real life.
People look at curling like it's some kind of joke. It takes so much skill to be good at curling. Also,
and that sweeping sucks too. That's hard too.
Yeah, that's hard. That's housework.
Like, people think, oh, it looks like fun. It's like, no, it's not. I didn't want to do that. I was like, I'll throw the rock. I'm not down with the sweeping part.
I always get the sweeping job. They're like, you sweep pretty good. I'm like, yeah, whatever, you jerk. I don't want to sweep.
Getting the ice, sweeping the ice as hard as you can in there. It's like, it's not a lot of fun.
Yeah, curling is.
That's why you got to be the skip. Curling? It's like being the QB. You got to be the skip. Yeah, I'm the skip. Yeah. I throw the rocks. You guys do the sweeping.
Everybody I'll throw, but the skip gets the main rocks. But you're right. And the thing is, you have a glider on. One of your foot stops on the ice, and the other one slides. Like, it takes major balance and technique. People don't get it. Like, curling is incredibly hard. Very difficult.
That's like golf, right? Golf looks easy on. Like, it looks like golf. When you see people play golf, you're like, I could do that. And then you actually do it. You're like, man, how come the ball didn't go straight?
Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Is that kind of helpful when it comes to preparing for a major? Is that you're just like 1 foot in front of you at this point?
Ideally come to a place here at Bay Hill where I've had good success in the past. I've only played it the last 21, 2, 3, and 4. But I've played it well, and I really like that we're heading there with where I'm at right now. I think it's going to tell me a lot.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, I am Gabriel Morency. A lot of you tune in for the Winning Edge on this network and professional betting advice. And I am doing what every professional bettor does in a moment of rage. I've been betting bigger units out of anger as the day has been going on, whether I like the games or not. I'm like, yeah, you know what? F it. I'm going like, now I'm to the point. I'm like, yeah, I'm going massive on this Big Sky game on the way out. I'm pretty frustrated. If I lose, I lose, and whatever. I'm getting tired of this. It's been like 72 hours of back and forth. I win a dime, I lose a dime, I lose 1,500, I win 50. It's like I'm going back and forth, and I'm getting angry now, but I got to calm down and take a deep breath. But I went big on 2 games on the way out here, on the way out earlier. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take Syracuse plus the points and Oklahoma plus the points. Good news, bad news. Good news is the Sooners are winning. A nice pick. Sooners are winning 72-64 right now with 3 minutes left. Bad news is Syracuse are getting punched in the mouth in the second half. They've been in this game, but SMU have outscored them 28-17 in the second half. 3.5 minutes left in the basketball game. I'm getting 9. I'm going to need a real backdoor cover here for it to happen. Let's bring in Ian Cameron, a.k.a. Babano right now. Babano, let's start off with a championship game. Then we'll get to Cal Poly Slow and UC Davis. Grand Canyon and Arlington just tipped off, but Big Sky Conference Championship game. Always a fun conference, and this should be a fun basketball game. It's going to be close. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this game went to overtime, actually. Like, if it's that close. And I said it before a couple of minutes ago, Babano, that if Northern Colorado was getting 3, I'd take Northern Colorado. But Montana's getting 3, so I'll take Montana, and I am betting the over the game. What are you doing with the Big Sky game?
I've got Northern Colorado in this game, and in the actually, I got them as a future to win the tournament. And Montana is the team that's been historically, over the course of the last decade plus, one of the powers in basketball in the Big Sky. They've always been there. It's been them and Weber State. Weber State had a bit of a down year this year, but Montana, a very young team, a lot of sophomores, a lot of freshmen. Took this team a while to really gel, but they were one of the best teams in this conference down the stretch. They played their best basketball February and March. Their offense started to get a lot better. They became very prolific scoring the basketball. Their defense improved. They rebound as well. Just a lot of improvements all around. Northern Colorado, I think start to finish, They have been the best team in the Big Sky, and even better than Montana. If you look at the overall body of work, these teams split in the regular season. The series, the road team won each time. Northern Colorado won in Missoula, and Montana won in Greeley. So when you look at it, split season series, these are the two best teams in the conference. I just think the difference is, while I respect Montana's pedigree and the culture of winning they've established, I think Northern Colorado, top to bottom, a little bit better, and I think it might be their time. But this is a great game, and it wouldn't shock me if Montana wins, but I'm going to go with the Bears, Northern Colorado.
How about this one, guys? 83-83 right now. UCF and Kansas with 3 seconds left in the basketball game. And UCF have the basketball. Kansas were up big early. UCF chipped away, and now here we go, 83-83. Jayhawk Nation have been frustrated this year. This will really upset them getting bounced if they lose to UCF in the
hockey
first
update,
game.
Vancouver just scored, Gabe. So now we could have overtime maybe in a hockey game here. They looked like they were dead when Calgary took the lead and Tocchet was angry, but we have a 3-3 hockey game here with both teams fighting for points. Interesting evening.
Yeah, despite Vancouver's frustration of their fans and the media and everything, the team has sort of, they've just sort of, gone through it or whatnot. Tonight's, you could tell, like last night and tonight, you just sort of tell, like they admitted it. Like before, it was always like, yeah, you know what, it's a long season, and they didn't hide it today. They were like, this is a massive game. Everybody knows it. They lost last night. They lost the other night to Dallas. They lose this game, like, I already have Canuck fans tweeting at me like I'm the GM. Hey, Morency, good call saying they shouldn't have traded people. Right? It's 3-3, jackass. The game's not over yet. This is like...
Season's not over yet either, even if they lose tonight.
They're 1 point out of the playoff spot. Like, chill out. Like, chill out. Like, you know what I mean? It's 20 games left. Exactly.
Hockey fans need to relax.
They're nut jobs,
Shut up.
Cam.
Yeah, they are.
I saw a story today in the New York Times. JT Miller said that his mental health is a lot better in New York. You know what's bad when you've got to go to New York City to get better mental health? And it's no kidding, your mental health. You're in Vancouver dealing with psychopaths every day. Like, New York, he walks down the street, nobody knows who he is. Nobody cares.
Exactly.
It's New York City. You're not even the richest person, like, on the street. There's some banker that walks past you that's like, good for you, JT Miller. Who are you? No one knows who he is. In Vancouver, it's like, oh, JT Miller was a jerk to me in Starbucks this morning. You know what I mean? Like,
you're right.
Like, it's like, he goes, oh, my mental health is much better. Like, playing in Vancouver, man, it gets to people. Like, you got to tune it out.
All these Canadian cities, like the people in Toronto, a lot of the players hate it. Yeah, Vancouver.
Nah, but Toronto's
Who
different.
Who is making JT Miller's mental health bad in Vancouver, though? The fans or Elias Pettersson? Or both?
I think he's got to look in the mirror a little bit, to be honest. But the NHL, like the NFLPA has that poll where they talk about, like, our plane, the hotels we stay in, the food they serve us, and all this type of stuff. The NHL has the same one, right? They don't crack it as publicly, but the NHL has the same thing. And the Vancouver Canuck actually report. Like, they have, like, every year, like, all the players will give a report. What's it like playing in the city? So the NHLPA sort of has something to know, like, about teams. And every Canuck, they said the same thing. The Canucks were like, oh, it's a beautiful city. The fans that go to the games are really cool. They said, they like playing for the team. They like the city. They liked everything about it. They get treated well by the organization. But there was the caveat, but they all said, don't read Twitter. Like, that was the thing. Mm-hmm. The Canuck players were all like, Vancouver Canuck fans are the worst. They're the most annoying people, like, online. They're going to badger you. It's constant negativity. So, like, there was sort of a thing with the Canucks. It's a great place if you don't read social media. And there was also a little thing in there about if social media bothers you, it's not the place for you. Right? Like, so, like, people are jerks, Babano. Like, they're psychopaths. And like you said, like, Toronto's a different market, Cam. Like, I'm not saying it's not psychotic and the Leafs aren't under immense pressure, because they are. But it's a different type of... In Toronto, everybody loves the Leafs and wants them to do well and is disappointed when they don't. There's not, like, a constant negativity about them. The Canucks is like, sell the team, Aquilini. They suck. Fire everybody. Pettersson, go back to Sweden. Like they turn on you, bro, like right away here.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
the
you know what's
Leafs, though,
funny?
I've
People
noticed
say
over the
Toronto
last
and Montreal are
years,
horrible, but Vancouver's pretty bad too.
Well, Vancouver's worse.
Vancouver's got a lot of psychos. You know what it is too, Gabe? And let's call it out for what it is.
Winnipeg's
A lot of
annoying
guys,
for players too. There's another one because
yes.
it's a smaller city,
yes.
and all they have is the Jets and Bombers, and you're under a microscope. Like it's a smaller city, so how many nightclubs are there? All right, there's a bunch of bars. How many bars are there for millionaires? All right, and then top that, how many bars are there in Winnipeg if you're a Winnipeg Jet player? You can go out without anybody knowing you're a Winnipeg Jet player and watching you. And how much did you tip in? Did you look at a girl? Did you talk to a girl? Did you do this? Oh, you know what I mean? Like, you're in the New York Rangers, Cam. Nobody knows who you are, bro.
That's the beautiful thing.
Nobody knows who you are.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know.
Aaron Rodgers, sure. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. That's the whole thing. Hockey. They go, oh, is that? Yeah, exactly what you said. It's like, okay. And another thing is, to your point earlier, Edmonton has the same reporters. Vancouver has the same guys. It's been these posses of guys.
Edmonton's a pain in the ass to play for. If you're on the Oilers, it's super annoying. Mark Spector and stuff. And
Canadian cities media are like
they don't after the game. Like Leon Draisaitl takes a penalty, they lose the game. Like it's a 2-2 game. He takes a penalty, they lose. And Spector, hey, Leon, did you think it was a good idea to take the penalty? It's like, well, what do you think? Like, he wanted to lose the game. Like they spin the questions on you there in Canada, where they just make you like you're either going to say something. They want to make you say something bad here. Like that's what they're trying to do.
The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Is that kind of helpful when it comes to preparing for a major? Is that you're just like 1 foot in front of you at this point?
Ideally come to a place here at Bay Hill where I've had good success in the past. I've only played it the last 21, 2, 3, and 4. So, but I've played it well, and I really like that we're heading there with where I'm at right now. I think it's going to tell me a lot.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
God, I hope the Canucks win just to shut people up. And plus, the Vancouver Whitecaps have already won. I think, Cam, are you on the Flames, Cam? You don't seem to be cheering for the Canucks. Or who are you on here? Who do you got, Flames?
I do actually have the Flames. I took the Flames, but I took them when they were down. I have them plus, and I have them money line. I do have the Flames. I was on Calgary radio this morning, and I took the Flames. But you know what? Vancouver's got a good chance to win this game.
This banana was a bad spot for Vancouver, technically. But it was also a gut check time for Vancouver tonight.
Good
like
call.
this, like I said, this was like the first game where it was like, whoa, guys, like we're sucking. Like that was the whole thing with the Canucks for most of the year, that there was a frustration, and I get it, that part. There was a frustration from the fans that's like that the team didn't seem to like understand that the season was going on. It's like, all right, guys, at what point are you going to step it up a notch here? And it's never really been coming, but they've been trying. It's just, it's not their year. But getting Quinn Hughes back tonight was massive, guys. So that sort of overrid the back-to-back for me. The fact that they were playing Lankinen tonight, Babano, is all you needed to know, right? They're like, we're not playing around. Like, we don't care. It's back-to-back. We're playing Lankinen. Quinn Hughes is back. We need to win this game. A big game. Like, man, it's a 4-point swing game, Babano, against the Flames. They're both battling for the same spot right now. This is huge.
It is.
They are, and they're about to go to OT because there's about 30 seconds left, 3-3. So looks like both teams are going to secure a point.
Here we
be
go. You're right, Gabe.
Yeah, you need the 2 points, though, not the 1 point. You need the 2.
Well, it's going to get wild. They actually said Seeloffs was going to start, and you're absolutely right. They changed it. They had him
they were like, no, we got to win.
Yeah. That's when I bet Calgary.
You know, when they was Hughes is coming back. So they're like, if Hughes is playing and he's not really should be back, like, that's another thing. Oh, God. Calgary nearly just scored with 9 seconds left.
they sure did.
Wow. Yep.
Oh, this overtime is going to be wild.
The puck was just bouncing around in front of the crease here. So, yeah, we're going to overtime. And, yeah, the extra point is going to be pretty critical here. All right, Babano. Cal Poly slow and UC Davis, Babano. Not the most glamorous game, but it's on the board, obviously, right now. I gave the specifics earlier. UC Davis have owned them. They've beaten them like 7 straight times. And, but, they're not playing great basketball right now. We talked about Cal Poly Slow's offense just being on fire. Totals 147.5 right now in game. No one scored the first minute in. UC Davis just took a 2-0 lead. Any opinion on the UC Davis Cal Poly Slow game?
Jim Les might be gone for UC Davis, especially if they get bounced tonight, because the program has been a little bit down. They've usually been one of the better teams in the Big West. He's been there a long time coaching this program, but they haven't had a great year, and apparently the AD and the athletic department's looking maybe to make a change after all this time. So this is a big game for maybe their longtime head coach if he hopes to stick around here. What I will say about this game is I do think Cal Poly's the better team. I like the way they've played down the stretch, so I did take the Mustangs here, Cal Poly, to win this game. And I was looking over. I just thought the total was a little bit high, but I certainly know there's going to be some pace. Certainly Cal Poly will look to play in transition. They're one of the more quicker paced teams in the conference. So I leaned to the over, and I took Cal Poly there in that one. If you like by the way, if you like the over in that Montana game, you're off to a great start. It's 16-16, 7 minutes into the game, 32 points already, and the in-game totals in the high 150s. So a lot of points early in the Big Sky title game.
Yeah, 154.5. Well, just moved to 157.5. 18-16 now for Montana. So, yeah, good start, Babano. Total was 147.5, and we smashed that. We hit the over, and we're also on Montana plus the points. So, 18-16 early there. All right, so we're going to overtime here. We'll keep you up to date, obviously, in the Calgary and Vancouver game. Montreal and Seattle, 2-1 for the Kraken right now. Midway through the second period of play. 2-0 for Utah, and Utah right in the middle of the playoff picks as well. They're beating the Ducks with 5 minutes left in the second period. NBA basketball, we've got the T-Wolves pulling away from the Nuggets. So the odds makers got this one right tonight. T-Wolves 85-71 on the Nuggets. I got it wrong. And Portland are leading the Knicks 72-71. They're going back and forth in that game. San Diego State women and Wyoming women. San Diego State 37-34. Over Wyoming. All right, Babano. We're gonna get, on the other side, we'll get Cam's golf picks once again. We'll get some golf props for the TPC. But we were talking futures, Babano, for the tournaments. And I was saying I don't really trust any of the favorites. Like Yale are kind of the only favorite that I think is going to win for sure. And they're minus 180. Like Michigan State's no lock to win the Big Ten tournament. Auburn are a great basketball team, but there are like 7 or 8 great basketball teams in the SEC right now. Florida could beat them. Tennessee could beat them. Like, Alabama, etc. Like, and a lot of teams can win the SEC conference tournament. St. John's, another one. Everyone loves St. John's. I think Marquette could win. UConn could win. I don't think there's value with St. John's. What about the conference futures? Do you like anything?
Well, let's talk about the two that haven't gone off the board yet or that haven't started yet, the Ivy League and the MAC. They're the only two conferences that haven't started their conference tournament yet, so the futures are posted right now. You mentioned Yale minus 180. They're definitely the favorite. They've been the best team start to finish. But guess which team was red hot, and I mean phenomenal down the stretch, played their best basketball. They were crushing teams left and right. The Big Red of Cornell. And I think they've got a real chance maybe to be that team to upset Yale. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Cornell. They play extremely fast. They shoot the ball well. They don't turn it over too much. Very efficient team. And if they're making threes and playing with that pace and the shots are falling, they could beat anybody, including Yale, in a potential Ivy League title game. So I think if you're going to try to beat the favorite there, I think Cornell at plus 300 is worth a shot.
Cornell, Big Red, says Babano. 76-71 Oklahoma, 45 seconds left. Georgia trying to come back right now. Oklahoma with a dog in this game. We got a minute left in overtime right now. Kansas have finally got a little bit of a cushion. They're up 5, 92-87 on UCF. Northern Colorado have just gone up 22-18 on Montana. Like Babano said, good start for the total here, guys. The total was 147, 147 and a half, and in-game total is currently 161 and a half. Overtime has begun in Calgary. Vancouver have had the better scoring opportunities. They've had a couple of 2-on-1s. There's a couple of they had a couple of nice legitimate scoring opportunities. Still 2.5 left here. I'm not sure. I don't think this. I could be wrong, guys. I'm on Vancouver to win the game, but I'm not sure it gets to a shootout. I think somebody's probably going to score here in the next 2 minutes. I think feels like Vancouver's got a goal in them coming up here.
They're playing good.
The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Is that kind of helpful when it comes to preparing for a major? Is that you're just like 1 foot in front of you at this point?
Ideally come to a place here at Bay Hill where I've had good success in the past. I've only played it the last 21, 2, 3, and 4. But I've played it well, and I really like that we're heading there with where I'm at right now. I think it's going to tell me a lot.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Man, we got a lot of stuff going on for a Wednesday night in the late night hours. We got games just getting started. Northern Colorado's up 24-20 on Montana right now. In game 156.5, 9 minutes left in the first half. They're laying 3.5. UC Davis up 13-10 early after 5 minutes with Cal Poly slow. We bet the over 150 in that game as well, and that total is 159.5. UT Arlington giving Grand Canyon all that they can handle. 24-23 Lopes right now. 8 minutes left in the first half, and UCF just don't go away, man. It's 93-90 Kansas with 25 seconds left in the basketball game. Le Bleu Blanc Rouge, the Canadien de Montreal, just scored 2-2 right now in Seattle. Ducks on the board, 2-1 Utah over Anaheim, and we're in overtime right now with 40 seconds left. And Vancouver have come close like 6 times, man, in the last 2 minutes. Wolf with a really nice save, bad puck lock. The puck just sort of bounced over their stick. They can't buy a break, but it looks like we're probably going to be going to a shootout unless they can score here with 30 seconds left. Hughes still on the ice here right now. Someone's got to shoot, guys. You got to shoot the freaking puck. Oh, God, did they just hit the crossbar? I'm telling you, man, the Canucks are cursed this week. Dude, you know how many posts? Someone tweeted me like 20 minutes ago, and I was bitching about them hitting a post earlier. Someone said they lead the league in hit posts. I got to see the stat, but like, dude, they just rattled one off the freaking crossbar right now. Damn it, man.
As Scotty Farrell's friend would say, Tim Brando, the iron unkind. Right now, it's being that way for Vancouver.
Oh, my God. Here, look at this. With 0 seconds left, they nearly just scored.
I got the Wolfman's on fire.
That
guy's
really
like blitz. Holy jeez, that guy's good.
Yeah.
Oh God! So we're going to a shootout right now.
Shootout
with the extra point on the line. This is massive. See if Lankinen can step up. All right. So Cam, what are your best bets? Who's going to win the TPC?
Well, let's do it, Gabe. Last week we had a first-round leader. How about we do more to win? Justin Thomas, 28-1. I think a lot of guys are going with Morikawa. He looks great, but I get 28-1 with Thomas, a guy that has absolutely slays this course. Then we're going to go with number 2, your boy, Hideki Matsuyama in the 2-hole at 30-1. Great winner here, and almost should have won in the COVID year. Tommy Fleetwood, I mentioned, trying to catch a falling knife is tough, but I like Fleetwood at 30-1. Daniel Berger, me and producer Greg Frank on the Berger at 65-1. Wyndham Clark came second in this tournament last year. 65-1 is an incredible price for him. And we talked about Duke with Cooper Flagg. I got Max Gracerman, a Duke Blue Devil, at 125-1. Top 5, Scotty Scheffler. You guys can wait on him. Maybe bet him live because I don't like his odds, but he's always there. Plus 125. He's won 2 years in a row. Morikawa, plus 140 for a top 10. Aberg could win, plus 170 for a top 10. Xander Schauffele, we talked about it, playing a little bit better on the weekend after the injury. Plus 120 for a top 20. Aaron Rye, Brady's got him. 2-1 for a top 20. And Brian Harmon from the University of Georgia at 3-1 for a top 20. First round leaders, let's get it done, everybody. Aberg, 30-1. He's 15-1 to win the tournament. That's why we love first round leader bets. Fleetwood, 40-1. Keegan Bradley was there last week at 60-1. Canadian Corey Connors coming out of the gate hot at 65-1. Our Højgaard, remember there's his brother too. It's Rasmus we like at 110-1. And not Mark Messier, Mac Meisner, 160-1. First round leader. Let's go.
Any picks, Babano, for the TPC?
TPC this week, we've got a couple long shots, too. We've got Connors. You mentioned Connors. Sepp Straka, 40-1. Connors, 55-1. Clark, 65-1. Victor Hovland, 85. Michael Kim, 85-1. Nick Taylor, 100-1. And going on down the board a little bit, Davis Thompson, 140-1.
Oh, Thompson's water seal. There you go.
All right, guys. Lankinen with the stop on the first attempt for the Flames, and EP40 Pedersen, nice play. Just put 1 5-hole. Vancouver up 1-0 in the shootout. Here comes the second attempt for the Calgary Flames. Now is the
quickly, Gabe, hole-in-one on 17, the prop. Yes, for a hole-in-one is plus 145. I like that. And over 52.5 balls in water on 17 for tournament. A couple crazy player props for you.
So you say there will be a hole-in-one. You say there will be a hole-in-one, and I like that prop. I don't know if I can find it, but I like that prop. Would you say over 52.5 balls will be sprayed into the water on 17?
Yeah, I think they'll get, it's going to be windy on the weekend. Lots of balls in the water. I think over 60. So I'll definitely take 52.5. If you can find it, bet it.
All right. Follow me online. Listen, I'm going to take, I got Hideki Matsuyama, Henley, and Justin Rose, but I'll play them all like top 20s too. But I'll post some picks online. Other than that, you're on your own later.